Are you looking for some transformative growth in your relationship that will surpass all success models of love, connection, and bonding? Hi, I'm Jennifer Evans with Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions, and we are rolling out starting registration this week for our Couples Masterclass. This Couples Masterclass is so comprehensive. I have taken not only adult learning principles, but my licensed mental health counseling, my master's in counseling and therapy, and all of my 20 years of expertise in looking at trauma and human behavior, understanding and building the behavior that is predictable, and putting it all together to have 4 foundational principles that create not only lasting, loving bonds, but I'm giving you a bonus of reuniting, rebuilding the love together, and being able to crush and slay all of your couple's goals. So this week we covered the foundational kind of sections of this Couples Masterclass. We looked at what are the foundational principles of just a happier and healthier relationship. And so we found the key ways of being present, having clear communication, and understanding kind of how to validate and pivot and set boundaries. Foundation, that is the foundation of any healthy relationship. And then we went into and split the second section up into 2 parts. One, we're learning what our side of the streets are, how our past experiences are creeping up and filtering and creating a lens of how we're interacting with others. And then what that response is in those reactionary cycles, how it creates a dynamic that we get into. And it's almost as if it's happening before we can even stop it. It is already going. We're not even starting and we are yet in there and we are defensive. I'm like, let's go. And we learn a lot about conflict resolution and what we're doing that gets us so amped up when it comes to our partnership. This was somebody that we loved, that we trusted, that was the most vulnerable with. And now we're like, come on, come at me, let's do this. And as we find how to own our side of the street, how to interject and find a positive cycle and dynamic and get out of the negative, as we use those key principles of validating and setting boundaries, we get into this last piece, which is transforming and rebuilding our love. And so this whole program is based on the 3 books, technically the 4 books that I have written. Saying Goodbye to Bad Brain is the overview of what our brain is doing. It's the beginning of how I came up with this framework, the neuroscience-based framework, and understanding these feedback loops that come in and filter our perception and really prevent us from being present and understanding. And there's actually some really good couples examples in that book of clear indications of how we're ruining our relationship. And then I came up with a workbook series, a 3-part workbook series of key steps to live a happier and healthier life. And all of those books came together to develop, with new knowledge that we haven't even gotten to yet, came together to create this Couples Masterclass. And so the first book of that Key Step series is really the framework of success. We call it A Life Worth Living, from the dialectical behavior therapy model. But it's a framework for success. And although we've used some of those things for the foundation and for our understanding the dynamics, really what we're doing is I'm giving you bonus content from that framework of success. And so what that looks like is in life, what we're doing is, and a part of the reasons we're getting into these dynamics and we're letting go of the foundational principles, and it will come up. This is the key moment. Like, this is how you make lasting change. This is what is different from all the other relationship programs. And that is because I'm giving you the secret, the spoiler alerts of why we get into these crushed decisions in the first place. Because we are so programmed to look for external validation. And external validation immediately depletes our internal value. And as our internal value goes down, what else goes down? Lack of capacity, or our ability to feel like we're capable, and our motivation to want to do better. Low value means low motivation to do better, and lack of capacity that we can do it. And it pulls us into an avoidance state. And as we're in an avoidance state, the negative dynamic comes up. So this is really where the lasting change comes in. And so what we're going to do in rebuilding our love section is we're going to look at our values. We're going to set a vision for our marriage. We're going to set a vision for our relationship, a vision for ourselves. We're going to build accountability. We're going to learn about vulnerability and why it's so important. We're going to look at the key factors of stressors in our lives: finances, parenting, the family developmental cycle, work-life balance, health and wellness. We're going to look at all of those key stress factors. These are the reasons we got into a negative dynamic in the first place. Why? Because we avoided. Because these were hard things that we didn't want to deal with. Yes, our past had a lot to do with it. But ultimately, because of everything that we pull together, we're avoiding things. And as we're avoiding things, we're getting into a negative cycle. We're getting into perceived realities. We're invoicing our partners. We're in the dynamic. And we're making crushed, emotionally reactionary decisions. That 95% implicit brain takes over. And so in this rebuilding love section, what we're going to do is we're going to be able to learn these high stress moments. We're going to create a plan and a vision. We're going to get on our pathway of success. So not only are you going to be happier, healthier, but you're going to be purpose driven. And you're going to have a built-in accountability partner, not to nag, because you've learned what the negative dynamics are. And so you're not getting wrapped back up being like, I don't want to be his mother anymore. I don't want to constantly feel like I'm nagging. I swear I try to give responsibilities and it's not working. You're going to learn how to get past all of that. Because it's a dynamic thing and there's locus of control in there. And there's so much we've got to learn. These are predictable patterns. And in 20 years of providing counseling services, I have identified all of these predictable patterns and I'm giving them to you. And in this masterclass, it is self-paced. You can take it whenever you want to. There are 27 lessons for you to learn. And in those 27 lessons, at your own pace, it's broken down into little 3 to 5 minute videos. You're getting a study guide that is just everything all together. You're getting very interactive worksheets. You're getting activities and journal prompts to take with you throughout the week. All of this is comprehensively included. And I give you coming from an emotional brain the external validators. That's how you're going to find joy. That's how you're going to find peace. Is let go of the outside and focus on your relationship and what makes you two happy and full. And because we learn the foundational things, we're going to have open conversations. We're going to trust. And we're going to be able to be unstoppable in our couple's goals. And if that's something that you want, then go into the video description, click on the register button. Everybody who registers this week gets a 25% discount on a lifetime of learning how to be successful, how to have a happier and healthier marriage, how to be able to slay any interaction that you have. This is more than just relationship counseling. This is life coaching. This is brain coaching. This is developing new neural pathways, creating new connections in your mind for a super highway of value, strength building, and growth. I'm Jennifer Evans with Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions, and this is something that you want. Then go and register. You will not regret it.